I've worked in death for 22 years. Army field medic, 4 deployments. Then trauma ER. Then I burned out and came home to Arizona, where the dead don't talk back, or so I thought. I run a 1-room coroner's office tucked behind the sheriff's station in Marlowe County, population 2,000 and dropping. On a normal night, it's just me, a cot, and a fridge full of tagged meat that used to be people. Last Thursday, at 9:13 p.m., 2 men in full state trooper uniforms rolled in with an unmarked stretcher. No lights, no sirens. Just parked around back and started banging on the side door like they owned the place. I opened up, annoyed, until I saw what they were pushing. No toe tag, no ID, no transport documents. Just a thick black body bag zipped all the way to the top and something big inside it. "You Lena Maris?" one of them asked. I nodded, and the taller one wheeled the gurney in like it was leaking radiation. Neither man made eye contact. They didn't stay more than 20 seconds. As they turned to leave, I said, "Wait, what am I signing for?" "You're not. Just keep it cold." Then they were gone. Inside, the body bag was bloated, lumpy in weird places, like the shoulders were bent the wrong way. I unzipped it halfway and recoiled. The man, or what looked like one, was intact. Skin smooth, not a scratch on him. No burns, no visible trauma. Eyes closed, lips slightly parted, jaw twisted to the side like it had been broken or dislocated. But the smell, Jesus! Not rot, not even death. Burnt copper, ozone, electrical fire, and bile. I opened the fridge drawer closest to the center wall and slid the body inside. Sealed it. Tried not to think about the faint sound I'd heard when I rolled him in. A soft, wet click. Like something inside had shifted. At 11:40 p.m., I started the intake paperwork. Still no ID, no file, no record of transfer. I called the sheriff department to ask what the hell had just been dumped on me. No answer. I left a message for Ray Holcomb, the sheriff, told him to get down here or I was sending the John Doe back to wherever it came from. Then I made the mistake of going back into the lab. The drawer was humming. Not loud, just a low mechanical vibration that shouldn't have been there. The other drawers were silent. Room temperature was stable, nothing tripped. But drawer 4, his drawer, buzzed like something was alive in there, moving. I unlocked it and slid it open a few inches. The man's mouth was open wider now. Not gasping, not flexing, just open, wider than a human jaw should go. The lower hinge hung at a wrong angle, like the bone had softened or folded somehow. I stared for a long time. Then, click. His fingers twitched. I slammed the drawer shut, locked it, sat down, told myself I imagined it. Nerves, maybe a misfire in the muscle, post-mortem spasm. But then I remembered something. The drawer wasn't cold. 15 minutes later, I took a thermometer, unlocked the drawer again, and pressed the sensor against the body's neck. 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Normal body temp. He'd been dead for at least 6 hours. According to basic biology, that's impossible. I touched the skin. It was warm, damp. No sign of decay. No rigor mortis. Chest cavity looked slightly swollen, like it was puffing out a little more every few minutes, like it was learning to breathe. The lights flickered. Not all of them, just the one directly above the drawer. I looked up, and for half a second, I saw a shadow between the glass and the bulb, something inside the light fixture, watching. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Dead static. Then a voice, soft, mechanical, half-formed. You keep us. Click. I turned to the camera screen. Yes, I had one old CCTV cam covering the autopsy bay, watched the footage from 10 minutes ago. In the grainy black and white video, I watched myself open the drawer, watched the body sit up, and then I watched it lie back down, perfectly still, just before I opened the drawer again in real life. I never saw it move with my own eyes, but the camera did.
I didn't sleep that night. I locked the cooler, pushed a gurney against it, then sat in the corner of the room with the lights on and a scalpel in my hand, not really knowing who I was planning to use it on, him or me. At 1:12 a.m., I heard keys in the front lock. I called out, "Ray?" No answer. Footsteps. Real ones. Boot heels on tile. Not quiet, not sneaky. Someone who knew they belonged here. I stepped into the hallway, still clutching the scalpel. It was Sheriff Holcomb. He looked worse than usual, flushed, sweating through his uniform. He stopped when he saw me. "You look like hell," he said. "You brought me a corpse that breathes," I said. "You're lucky I didn't cut your damn throat on instinct." Ray's lip twitched, like he almost smiled. Then he shut the door behind him and drew the bolt. "I told them you wouldn't just shut up and play nice."
We sat in the front office. I didn't offer him coffee. He didn't ask. Ray rubbed his eyes and finally spoke. "That body came from a crash site, out by Route 70. Locals called it in. Flaming wreck, no smoke. Dead quiet. By the time we got there, the car was gone." Gone? Not like towed, like it had never been there, just a long gouge in the earth and tire tracks that ended in dust. "And the body," I asked, "just standing there, middle of the road, naked, not a scratch, just smiling." Ray reached into his coat and pulled out a small Polaroid, old school. He slid it across the table. It was the body, same man, standing upright in the headlights of a cruiser. But the face, it wasn't right. Mouth too wide, eyelids too tight, like a Halloween mask made by someone who'd heard of humans but never seen one up close. We bagged him. Then 2 state troopers showed up. Not ours, no IDs. Said they'd take it from here. Next thing I know, they're hauling him to you. I stared at Ray. "You're telling me you gave me a living body?" "I'm telling you," he said, leaning in close. "Don't open that drawer again."
3 loud knocks on the front door. We both turned. Ray peeked through the blinds. "Shit." "What?" "Captain Lorne, with the feds." I moved toward the door. "Let him in." "No, not yet." Ray grabbed my wrist. "We didn't call them. I didn't tell anyone where I was coming, and he didn't have a shadow." That stopped me cold. I turned to the hallway, toward the autopsy room, and I heard it, from behind the cooler door, breathing, not raspy, not desperate. Calm, like someone practicing. Deep inhale, pause, long exhale, like it was rehearsing what it meant to be alive. Ray unlocked the gun at his hip and drew it. "If he tries anything, I'll—" The light in the hall snapped off. We froze. Then metal creaked. The cooler door was opening on its own. Ray stepped into the hall, gun up. I followed, against every survival instinct I had left. The drawer was open 6 inches, and the thing inside was not lying down. It was crouched, bent forward, face almost touching the metal door, mouth still open, tongue motionless like a dry sponge. Its eyes were glassy, wrong, one pupil dilated, the other pinprick thin. It blinked, then mimicked the blink again, slower. Ray's hands were shaking. The thing looked at him, then tilted its head like a curious dog. Then it said, in a wet, broken voice, Ray, home, come home. Ray fired. The shot rang through the building. The drawer slammed shut, by itself, and on the wall above it, written in condensation, were 3 words. We took him.
I turned to Ray. He wasn't looking at the drawer. He was staring at the end of the hallway, mouth open, eyes wide. I followed his gaze and saw his wife standing barefoot, soaking wet, wearing the exact pajamas I'd seen her in the night before when she brought him dinner. Only she died 2 years ago.
Ray, I whispered, that's not her. He didn't move. His gun was still in his hand, pointed low. His shoulders had gone slack. The woman at the end of the hall, she didn't blink. She didn't shift her weight. She didn't breathe. She just stood there, wet hair plastered to her face, the exact way it looked when they pulled her out of Coldwater Lake. Then she smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was a test, a dry run at something human. Ray took one shaky step forward. "Don't," I said. She always wore those slippers, even in summer. Said the tile was too cold." His voice cracked. The gun lowered a little more. I grabbed his arm. "Ray, you told me you buried her in those slippers." He stopped. And the thing at the end of the hall cocked its head, as if it had just heard something it didn't expect, like a radio tuning itself. Then it spoke, not to Ray, to me, in my voice. "She always wore those slippers. The tile was too cold." Ray turned to me, like he'd just woken up, then back to the thing. His jaw set, and just like that, he emptied the rest of his clip into her. The first shot spun it sideways, but it didn't fall. The second broke its shoulder, but it didn't cry out. The third and fourth just made it twitch. And the fifth, that one hit center mass, and the whole thing collapsed like a puppet with the strings cut. But there was no blood, not even a spatter, just steam rising from the wound like it had burned a hole in meat that wasn't meant to be warm. Ray stood over it, panting, gun empty. The corpse's mouth was still grinning. He nudged it with his boot. Its face fell off. I don't mean the skin ripped. I mean the entire front slid down like a melted wax mask. Underneath was not bone. It was like wet black silicone veined with fine white lines like a root system. Where eyes should have been, there were empty craters filled with twitching fibers, like tiny worms curling in salt. Ray stumbled back. I couldn't move. Then from the autopsy room, we heard another drawer slide open. We turned toward it together. Drawer 3 this time, the one that had been empty. The lights flickered again, then held, and the man we had locked inside, he was standing next to the gurney now. Not walking, just there. Like we blinked and the space between didn't happen. He looked at us, and something shifted under his skin, like someone had injected a bucket of eels into his muscles. Then he tried to speak again. Not in broken imitation this time, not guessing. Now, he was testing phrases. You left the door open. We saw. We copied. You brought us the skin. Ray lifted the empty gun like it still meant something. Why here, he said. Why us? The thing tilted its head, like the question itself was amusing or maybe primitive. Too soft in sky. You hard. You shaped. You fit. I stepped in front of Ray. You're wearing him. It nodded. We wear until ready. We peel what breaks, learn the inside shapes, how to mimic the fall apart, and the love. That last word stuck in its throat. Love. It said it again, slowly, trying to find the meaning. The love. The want. The hold. Then it smiled. Too many teeth, too sharp, not white, but some color between bone and shadow. Ray pulled me backward toward the exit.
Then I heard the front door unlock. We hadn't touched it. 3 men stepped in. Black suits, black gloves, faces too still. One of them was Captain Lorne, or something that looked like him. He stepped forward and said, "Step aside, Dr. Maris." Ray muttered, "That's not Lorne." "No," I said, "it's not." Because his hands were backwards, fingers on the wrong sides, palms facing the wrong way. Subtle, almost perfect, until he moved. And even then, only if you were looking for it. Behind them, headlights flared. A black SUV. I looked outside, and in the rear window, pressed against the glass, was the real Captain Lorne's face, mouth open in a silent scream, inside out, folded, stuffed in, still twitching.
Step aside, said the thing in the Lorne suit. Ray raised the gun again. Still empty, I muttered. I know. And then, as the men moved toward us, the lights went out. Total blackout. The second the lights went, the hum of the cooler stopped too. The whole morgue went dead silent. Not even the security monitor blinked. Just the sound of our own breathing. And something else. Footsteps. But not footsteps like shoes. Footsteps like bare skin slapping tile. Wrong rhythm. Too soft. Too many. Ray pushed me behind him, and I heard the click, click, click of him squeezing the empty trigger like he could will bullets into existence. I whispered, "Back room! Tool cabinet!" He didn't argue. We ran. Not sprinting, fast but quiet, because whatever was in the hallway hadn't followed us. Not yet. Just that same faint sound. Slap. 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 Slow. Unhurried. The back room was colder. No windows, no back exit. But it had something better. Tools. I pulled the lockbox off the wall, smashed it open with a tray, and yanked out the bone saw. Manual, rusty, fine by me. Ray grubbed a hammer. We turned around, and the lights came back on. Only one of them, though, buzzing yellow, flickering slightly. And in that half-light, we saw them. 4 figures, standing in the hallway outside the autopsy room. Not moving, just standing. Perfect silhouettes of people we recognized. Ray's dead wife. Captain Lorne. One of the fake troopers from earlier. And the last? It was me. Not me exactly. An approximation. Wearing my coat, my hair too flat, face too stiff, a wax model of me if someone described me from memory and got the details just wrong. Her eyes met mine. She blinked, then smiled. Ray whispered, "What the hell do they want?" I stepped forward, and the copy of me mirrored it, perfectly, like we were wired together. "They want us to see it," I said. "See what?" I pointed to the one that used to be Captain Lorne. "Look at his hands!" Ray did. They weren't backwards anymore. They were fixed, perfect. They're learning. Each time we see them, they're more correct, more human. Ray cursed under his breath. Then the one, in my shape, spoke. Same voice, same inflection. But what she said made my guts turn. "It's all right, Lena. You're already outside."
Ray and I looked at each other. Then we both turned to the security monitor. Even though the rest of the cams were dark, one feed was active. The parking lot. And on the screen, we saw the two of us, Ray and me, standing in the lot, under the floodlights, watching the building. Still. Expressionless. "That's not us," Ray whispered. "They're not learning anymore," I said. "They're ready." Something slammed against the door to the back room. Once, twice. Ray jammed the lock, braced the cabinet against it. The third hit dented the steel. I picked up the bone saw and looked at Ray. "We can't stay here. We run for the SUV. If that's the real Lorne's body, maybe there's something in there we can use. Radio, keys, anything. And if those things out there follow us?" I didn't answer, because I already knew they would. We made our move, threw open the door. The hallway was empty now, all 4 mimics gone. But the cooler? Every drawer was open, every body gone. Ray whispered, "Where did they go?" We didn't wait to find out. Out the front, through the blown-out door, the parking lot was silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. The SUV was parked crooked, back door ajar. I ran to it. Ray kept watch, hammer up, breath shallow. Inside the trunk, I found the real Captain Lorne. What was left of him, folded like a rug. Bones bent the wrong way, mouth sewn shut with sinew. His hand clutched something, a black sat phone. I pulled it free and checked the screen. Active transmission, but no voice. Just a soft, hissing whisper. I pressed it to my ear, and a voice, not Lorne's, not mine, not human, said, "You gave us the shape. We wore it well, but you kept looking, and now we must break the mirrors."
Ray was backing away from the SUV, eyes wide. I turned and saw them. Dozens of copies. Me, Ray, Lorne, my sister, my father, a girl I didn't recognize. All versions, echoing memories. All watching. Then they all spoke at once. "We took the body back. We are not done learning. There is so much more to become." And then they all began to scream. One unified, deafening shriek, like a radio station stuck between frequencies, like 1,000 teeth on metal, like memory tearing. Ray screamed too, not in fear, in pain. He dropped to his knees, holding his head, blood pouring from his nose. I pulled him up, through the sat phone, and we ran. We didn't stop. Not even when the screaming cut out. Not when the lights behind us all shut off at once. Not when Ray whispered, "I think one of them got inside me."
We ran until the floodlights faded behind us and the desert swallowed the road. No moon, no sound, just the crunch of boots over gravel and the wheeze of Ray's breathing. He was struggling, bleeding from the nose, muttering words I couldn't catch, none of it in English. I wanted to stop, to help him, but I was scared if I looked him in the eye, I wouldn't recognize what looked back. We made it to my truck, half a mile out. I keep it parked off the service road behind a rise. Unlocked, keys under the seat. It started like it always did. Ray climbed in the passenger seat, silent, shivering, eyes locked forward. I didn't ask if he was okay. I knew he wasn't.
We drove in silence, desert speeding past, and slowly Ray stopped twitching. His breathing leveled. The blood from his nose dried into a thin crust above his lip. Then he spoke. They weren't hunting us. Not really. What? They were demonstrating, like a slideshow, a sales pitch. I didn't like how calm his voice was, too level, too steady. Ray, what are you saying? He turned to look at me and smiled. You watched. That's what they needed. Witnesses. That makes it real. That's how the seed spreads. I slammed the brakes. Dust exploded around the truck. I opened my door, ready to drag him out. But he just left. Soft, wet, wrong. You can't peel it out of me. Not now. It's under the skin, behind the parts. It knows how to hold my shape better than I ever did.
He leaned forward, and in that moment, I saw it. His eyes weren't synced. One blinked just a fraction too late. A shadow behind the iris twitched when he smiled. Then he spoke with my voice. "We are very grateful, Dr. Maris." I bolted, left the truck, left the road, didn't stop running until the lights were gone and my legs gave out. I lay in the dirt and cried until sunrise. That was 4 days ago. The morgue is gone now. I went back with a deputy from the next county. Just a concrete foundation and a burned-out SUV frame. No bodies, no files, no blood. They said I had a breakdown. Maybe I did. But every night since, I've checked the security cam archive I pulled before we fled. There's one clip I can't explain. Timestamp, 12:47 a.m. Same night. Camera 3, front lot. I see myself walking out the door. Calm, no panic, no Ray. I walk to the lot, get in my truck, drive away. That version of me left 20 minutes before I actually ran. That's not metaphor. That's not stress. That's video evidence.
And this morning, I woke up to a voicemail from a number with no digits, just static. I played it 3 times. It's my voice. "We took the body back, but we left you a copy, and it's learning how to be you better than you ever did. I'm not running anymore. If they wanted to take over the world, they'd have done it already. They don't want that. They just want to become us. One by one, face by face, memory by memory, until no one remembers what the real ones ever looked like. If you're watching this, or hearing this, or whatever they're letting through, ask yourself something. Are you sure you're still wearing the right skin? Because if you've been tired lately, forgetting names, blinking too slow, dreaming in someone else's voice, maybe you've already been replaced. And the real you might still be somewhere inside, watching.